Breaking news just moments ago, President Trump sending troops to Portland. He made the announcement on Truth Social, and it read in part at the request of Secretary of Homeland Security Kristi Noem. I am directing Secretary of War Pete Hegseth to provide all necessary troops to protect war-ravaged Portland. Now, I remember this well. I remember 2020. There's a lot of violence in Portland. There was a courthouse that folks tried to set on fire, and President Trump deployed federal law enforcement there. I was his press secretary at the time. Here's what I said. By any objective standard, the violence, chaos, and anarchy in Portland is unacceptable. Yet Democrats continue to put politics above peace while this president seeks to restore law and order. Now, someone who was there with me in the White House at that time was Katie Miller. She's the host of the Katie Miller podcast. She has a long track record in the Trump administration. Katie, you and I were there in the summer of 2020. We remember how dangerous Portland got, and they still have crime problems today. What do you make of the president's action?
You know, the greatest difference between President Trump's first term and a second term is that we're not waiting for there to be set fires in Portland. As President Trump said in 2020, it's an anarchist jurisdiction. So what do you do with an anarchist jurisdiction? You deploy as many troops as possible. You gain control quickly, and you say, we are coming for you, and we will not allow the riots in the street like we did in the summer of 2020. This is President Trump's country, and he has promised to make sure that every American feels safe, and that includes our brave law enforcement, who's been the subject to too many violent attacks, whether that be what happened this week or weeks before that. It is not acceptable to attack law enforcement who are just carrying out the duty that Congress has charged them with. And President Trump has said no more. And by doing this action today, he's not waiting for it to get worse. He is going to protect our brave men and women who serve our country.
Katie, I'm really glad that you made that the focus, the brave men and women, because at that time in Portland, back in 2020, I remember vividly when protesters tried to light a courthouse on fire, and there was federal law enforcement in and around this. And President Trump does have the authority to deploy National Guard to federal property to protect federal assets. And Katie, I just saw yesterday ICE agents who were followed, people giving out their address, the attacks on ICE facilities. You worked at DHS. Tell us what you know about ICE agents, DHS officials, these folks who put it all on the line and incur what you're looking at, this kind of violence.
Gavin Newsom is the first one who's demonized our great ICE law enforcement officers who put their lives on the line every single day to do the job that, again, Congress has charged them to do. And by President Trump taking this action today and saying we are not going to wait for it to be worse. And what happened in 2020 is, right, law enforcement served as crowd control measures. Yes, they made over 1,000 arrests back in 2020. But by doing this action today, he's saying that we're not going to wait. We're going to come quickly and come hard. And by doing that, you're protecting the ICE law enforcement in the field, because if you are greenlighting even a little bit of an ounce of attack against them, you don't know what's going to happen next. I mean, maybe we do, and we saw that what happened with our friend Charlie Kirk. But when you take quick and swift action, you are going to stand up for all men and women who today are on the streets arresting illegal aliens and ensuring their deportation, which is exactly what President Trump said he was going to do, is remove every illegal alien present in this country. And who's doing that? That is ICE. And we must all stand together with the people who are serving our great country.
Katie, I only have a few moments here, but I love listening to the Katie Miller podcast because I know you as a friend, and it's really cool because I feel like I'm getting to know the new Trump administration as a friend. I saw your conversation with J.D. Vance. You asked some really fun questions. What is the most exciting thing you've learned about a Trump administration official?
The greatest thing I've really learned is how friendly they are with one another, which is such a change from the first administration, is that this time President Trump has truly picked a cabinet who enjoys hanging out with each other, whether that be on Air Force One or at dinners or on girls' nights together, because President Trump has selected such a diverse cabinet that includes more women than ever before.
Yeah, it's really fun to watch. Like my friend Caroline Levitt and Margot, they're all great friends, truly, really, and they're doing a great job. Katie Miller, thank you.